So you've set your goals, you're all inspired, you are ready to hit the ground running. But then fast forward 1 year and you're no closer to where you want to be than you were this time last year. In this episode, I'm going to talk all about the reasons why you haven't achieved your goals and exactly how to deal when you haven't reached the goals that you've set for yourself. The first reason why you failed to achieve your goals is because you've been wasting time on the wrong things. Part of this could be because of perfectionism, or it could be because your attention is on things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. With any goal, whether it's fitness, a business, getting married, there's going to be things that move the needle forward. But if you're wanting to start exercising, but you've spent the last 3 months looking at how to optimize your workout, but you haven't moved, then you've wasted your time on the wrong thing. If you wanted to start your YouTube channel, but you've spent the last 6 months trying to figure out a name without realizing that people come for your content, not for your name, then you've wasted your time on the wrong thing. If this is you, you must fully accept that with anything, progress comes from taking action. You can optimize and make things better at any time, but you won't start perfect. So you just need to start. So take some time drawing out all the action steps and ask yourself for every single point, does this directly get me towards my goal? For the ones that do them straight away. For the ones that are questionable, spend some time on it, but give yourself a cutoff point and then move forward. The second reason why you failed is because you don't really want this. When deep down there's a part of us that doesn't really want the goals that we've set for ourselves, then subconsciously there's something in us that won't be acting towards getting the thing that we think that we want to achieve. It might be through lack of motivation, it might be through self-sabotage, it could even be through procrastination. However this might play out for you, the fact is, the goal that you've set for yourself is something that you can't truly say from the bottom of your heart that you really want. It might be that you want the end result of what you think it gets you, but you don't want to do the thing that it takes to get there. So this one's about asking yourself, what is it that you really want? And actually, are there other ways to even get there? With any destination, there's always many routes to get there. But sometimes we can be quite closed off as to how that might play out. So for example, you think you want to be a doctor, but you're finding that your heart really isn't in it and your passion really isn't in the study, in the research, in the work it takes to become a doctor. And then when you stop and ask yourself what's going on, it's not that you want to be a doctor itself, it's that you might want the job security, the financial security, the prestige that you think comes along with being a doctor. But actually the role itself isn't pleasing to you. So then it's about asking yourself, okay, these things that I really want from life, financial security, job security, prestige, what other ways are there of getting there? Explore all of those other options and then really look at what it is that you want to do and which one of those appeals to you the most, and then see if your motivation starts to line up. The third reason why you failed to achieve your goals is that it might be a part of self-sabotage in the form of your fear of success. So for some people, the fear of outdoing their friends, their family, their husbands prevents them from really pursuing what it is that they want to achieve. It might even be that you've built up this idea of what success might look like for you. Long hours, hard work, recognition, fame, and the thought of that might be really frightening. It might even be that you have this idea that if you become wealthy, it's going to bring along with it all these problems. And within that comes an element of limiting certain decisions you might make, taking maybe a slightly different direction to the one that you need to, not fully putting in the work that you need to because you're afraid of all of those things happening. Or maybe you're afraid of the immediate backlash you might get from the people around you if you start to do well. Reason number 4 is due to a fear of failure. So I've done a whole series on failure and fear of failure as a form of self-sabotage, which I'll link below for you. But you might have even heard that failure is necessary for success. But that doesn't suddenly make it comfortable for you. For some people, hearing that statement is enough motivation, but for you, just hearing that failure is necessary for success might not be enough to change your mindset about it. If you're worried about failing to lose weight or maybe failing to find your soulmate, and this is preventing you from taking the steps you need to achieve all of those things, then I highly recommend that you check those videos out. What's needed here is a huge mindset shift, and hopefully you'll find some insights in those videos that can help you out. The 5th reason you failed is because you have too many things going on. You're trying to do way too much. This could be that you're changing multiple things all at once, or that you're bringing in another thing that you want to focus on without letting go of something else. Maybe you're trying to start a business, but you're still trying to maintain your social life to its highest peak. Maybe you're trying to adopt a healthy lifestyle, but you want to go from 0 to running a marathon and eating clean overnight. Both of these scenarios, or any combination of these that applies to your personal goal, is headed directly towards burnout. When you are much further along in your journey, there's no reason why you can't do it all, but you have to accept that within certain seasons of your journey, it's going to require a small sense of sacrifice of one thing for the greater good of something else. Then when things calm down or are a bit more stable, therefore then you don't have to be in a season of sacrifice anymore. It's like that quote, live 6 months like people won't so that you can live the rest of your life like people can't. For the next point, I'm going to combine 3 reasons together which sometimes all play off each other to be the reasons why you're not achieving what you want. No motivation, lack of commitment to your goal, and not taking action. If this is you, I really think it's important for you to know what you're motivated by, and also actually understand that different aspects of your life might require a different type of motivation. For this, I'm going to link you to a previous episode where I talk all about the different motivation types, and you can see which one applies to you. Once you know what you're motivated by in any given situation, you can leverage this by manipulating your environment so that it's creating the type of motivation that you need to start making moves in any area of your life. The next reason why you failed is because of analysis paralysis. This basically means that you aren't able to make basic decisions about what you need to do because you're overthinking, you're overanalyzing, and you're ruminating, which you'd think might be part of the planning process, but actually in this case, all this thinking isn't bringing you any new ideas and it's not bringing you any closer to making a decision. If this is where you're at, there are some things I have up my sleeve which I usually only discuss with my clients, but I will be doing an episode on in the near future. Another reason why you failed is because you have way too many goals. Now, I've done a whole video where I coach you on exactly what to do when you have too many goals, so I will link that in the description box and in the cards for you. But sometimes what we do in the pursuit of success is create multiple goals for ourselves, but not necessarily in a way that actually works towards getting us to where we want to be. So this one's about bringing some clarity and strategy back into our goal making process. Reason number 9 for why you failed to achieve your goals is because you're too distracted. Because of a many number of things like too much clutter in your space, too many goals, too many negative people around you, or negative voices in your own head, you are not able to focus for any significant period of time that's long enough to achieve your goals. For this, you must start by figuring out what is distracting you. Make practical, environmental, or lifestyle adjustments to make sure that these things aren't distracting you anymore. If this step feels too big at this stage, at the very least, make sure that as you're working or while you're in the process of working on this particular goal, just while you're doing it, distractions are limited or removed completely. Reason number 10 for why you failed is because you've given up too quickly. Keeping up motivation and momentum when you're putting in all of the effort in the world and doing it with a smile is one of the hardest things to do. You have to keep showing up day after day without getting any fruits of your labor. This is tough. But for this, you might have heard the analogy of the bamboo tree, which doesn't look like it's growing for 5 years. That's 5 years of regular maintenance to see absolutely no result. But then when it does grow, it can shoot up to 90 feet tall in a matter of weeks. Now, even with this, you might be able to keep yourself going with this analogy at times when your motivation is at its peak, but what about when it's not? How do you keep yourself going when nothing is working in your favor? Well, one way is by gamifying, incentivizing, or rewarding yourself when you reach small milestones. And these milestones shouldn't be of your output, it should be on your input. So, for example, instead of rewarding yourself when you've lost 10 pounds, which you can't completely control because there are many factors that contribute towards weight loss, instead reward yourself when you reach 10 days of working out. Rewarding the result is great when your motivation is high, but for those times when your motivation is running really low and you're feeling ready to give up, create milestones of things that you can do that you actually have control over, and then put your time, energy, and attention into working towards those, and then sensibly reward yourself when you do. So those were 10 reasons why you failed to achieve your goals and how you can deal with each one. Let me know which one of these spoke to you the loudest, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on mindset, relationships, and personal growth. That's it from me for now, and I will see you in my next one.